Okay, so we have been talking lovely stuff today. We got lovely stuff today. Okay, we'll move that one to the next day. But I want to talk about this. We talked about it the other day about the whole Gavin Newsom trolling Donald Trump, and it's not Gavin Newsom. It's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's governor's office, I think, is what it's called on Twitter, on X, and they're really trolling Trump and Trump's followers and his surrogates and his sycophants, and they're not backing down at all. And they're using his way of speaking. They're using his approach. They're using his methodology, and it has spurred on hundreds of others. It has inspired hundreds of others to start posting images of Newsom in the same kind of poses and things that Trump often reposts. There was one, it had Gavin Newsom sitting at a desk, and behind him was an angel of Hulk Hogan, and on one side of him was it like Kid Rock, and on the other side was, oh gosh, I can't remember who was on the other side, and somebody said, "This is blasphemy," right? Like that's what the Newsom's governor's office posted. This is blasphemy, and the office responded with, "Oh, sorry, I meant to post this," and it was the picture that Trump shared, where Trump was dressed as the Pope. I don't know if you remember, but after Pope Francis passed and before Pope Leo was raised up, he posted something, and somebody said maybe Trump should be the Pope. And so he reposted the picture. Neither here nor there. Texas recently, I think the Senate just approved this. I think their Senate just approved this. They are going to redraw their congressional map. Now, this isn't the season for that. It's every 10 years. Normally, it's every 10 years. But they're going to redraw it. They're going to redraw it because, at least to some extent, Trump, and he said this publicly, is entitled to another 5 seats from Texas. And so they're going to redraw their maps in order to give him that. I'm not making that up. That's not opinion. That's observation. That's replying. That's me telling you what has been said. California, again, under the governor, Gavin Newsom, they have passed a bill where they are going to put it to a state vote in November. That they will, the vote is, do you approve us redrawing the state congressional maps in this way? California, you can't just do it with the signature of the governor. It requires the state, it requires the people of the state to say, yes, we approve of this redraw. And that's made it through the state house in California, that they're going to send that out to the people. Do you approve us redrawing the congressional maps of California in this way? The way they're going to redraw it is it'll be a huge shift. It could be a huge shift towards the Democrats. You can imagine what's being said now. That's not fair. You can't do that. Republicans in the state house of California are saying this is wrong. You cannot do that. You can. This is not okay. We have blah 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 blah. Congressional members from California, Republican congressional members, are saying no. Do not do this. You cannot do this. It's wrong for you to do this. Republicans all over the country are chiding and crying out. This isn't all right. This isn't okay. Now, some of these voices, give them their due. Some of these voices were saying the same thing when Texas took this task on. You really shouldn't do this. It's not okay for you to do this. This is wrong for you to do this. Most were silent. Some encouraged. And now here California is doing this. The other day when we talked about Gavin Newsom trolling Trump, we talked about that idea of living by the sword. Living by the sword, you die by the sword. Gospel of Matthew. Right? Jesus, after Peter cuts off the chief the chief priest's assistant's ear, Jesus says, put your sword away. For those who live by the sword will die by the sword. Thing is, you have to live with the expectation that you will be treated as badly as you treat others. You have to live with that expectation. You can't complain. If you treat others badly, if you break the rules, if you bend the law, if you do the things that you're not normally supposed to do, but you do it in order to get something that you really want, when you act out of greed, or when you act out of malice, when you act out of selfishness, when you use your power to get things for yourself, you can't expect that others aren't going to do the same, and you certainly can't complain about it. You can't cry out that, oh my gosh, they're going to break the rules, when you're breaking the rules. You look like a huge hypocrite. You look like a fool, especially if they're only doing it because you've done it. Like Newsom has come out and said, we're doing this because Texas did it. We wouldn't be doing this unless Texas did what they did. And I'm curious if California would stop if Texas said, we're going to leave it the way it is. And you can't cry about it. You can't complain about it. You can't lament about it. You can't go on about how unfair the other side is. And I'll go a step further. If, let's say, Louisiana, Mississippi, Ohio, North Carolina, I'm just making up, just coming up with other states that have a large Republican base. California can't lament if all the Republican states follow suit. Right? Can't do it because you did it. I've said it before. I'll say it again and again and again. Don't lower yourself. Don't become what you despise. Don't become the monster that you're in conflict with. Don't become the villain. Right? Don't burn the house down in hopes of saving it. You got to hold to what you know is right. You got to hold to your integrity. You got to hold to your honor. When you see someone who is acting dishonorably, you can't follow suit just to defeat them. But here's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, again, if you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. If you use unfair tactics, you should expect that unfair tactics will be used against you. If you do hateful things, you should expect that hateful things will be done towards you. If you cheat, and if you steal, and if you scratch, and if you, again, act selfishly, then you should expect others to act in those ways towards you. And you should shut up about it when it happens. Because it's on you. But if you are operating in such a way that it is honorable, and you are working for the betterment of others, including your opposition, and if you are giving, and if you are charitable, and if you do seek to provide for others, including your opposition, and if you're doing things at the right time, for genuinely right reasons, not because somebody claims to be entitled to it, then you can complain. You can complain when others treat you badly. Anyway, amen.